Ladies and gentlemen, I was meant to make this speech at the Tajiks Cultural Guradians Association event in commemoration of Commander Massoud, but due to some reasons, the event seems to be postponed. So I will record my speech here in this video and present it for public viewing. So I will start my speech. Assalamu alaikum. I must apologize for not being able to make this address in Persian. Due to obvious constraints, I have to make it in English. Brothers and sisters, I am honored to be invited by the Tajiks Cultural Guradians Association to address their special seminar held in memory of the legendary commander Massoud. Matters are many, but the time is short, so I feel we must get straight to the core issues confronting the well-being of Tajiks all over the world. My speech deals with the predicament of Khorasan. A great tragedy has befallen our ancient and civilized people, and in order to assess this, we must look to history. The Tajik nation in this very time is confronted with grave existential issues as never before. They are under attack in the lands where they have been living for thousands of years. They are under attack from people like the Afghans and Pashtuns, people who are very rudimentary, compared to the sophisticated legacy that Tajik can be proud of owning. These violent and destructive tribal people prefer to live wildly and chaotically and are known to represent a singularly grave threat to all levels and forms of social, cultural, and political stability. Khorasan once formed the eastern part of the legendary Persian political and cultural crucible of Iran Shahr or Iran Zameen. It contained vibrant and prosperous cultures such as Bactria and its sister civilization of Gandhara to the east, which were the talk of the ancient world. Although Persia fell to the Arab conquest, the real decline of Khorasan began at almost the same time with the arrival in this area of the Huns and Turkic hordes, who soon afterwards became the spearhead of Islam and began the domination of what was once an Iranian polity. Although under Islam, Khorasan was to experience a glorious revival in the form of a golden age of learning, the influence of the Turks seemingly stirred up another element which had been lying latently and hitherto unobtrusively in the soil of Khorasan for many centuries, that of the Sakas. In earlier times, these Eastern Iranic Sakas or Scythians had lent the color to life on the Iranian scene by forming the Saka-Parthian ethnic composite, which came to dominate the culture of Sistan or Sakastan as it was called after them. This later became the bedrock of the Persian epic, the Shahnameh, but at that time, the Sakas were firmly within the ambit of Persian civilization in all its glory. It was after the Arab conquest of Persia, when that civilization fell to ruin, that Lower Khorasan was taken over by the Turkic Hindu Rajputs, known first as the Kabul Shahis and then as the Hindu Shahis. This set into play a complex series of ethnic and cultural changes centered on the old Saka-Parthians or Afghans as they were known, and a literal dark age of 350 years prevailed over Lower Khorasan, during which the Saka influence began to dominate and spread out in Lower Khorasan, bringing to the fore these reconstituted Afghans. This process took place between AD 1000 and 1500, and the arrival of the Mongols and Timurids in the region added a further stimulus to this process. By the 1500s, the Afghans had already engulfed and swallowed the Tajik kingdom of Swat in Gandhara, which was a continuity of the old setup of Iran Zameen. Before that, another branch of the Afghan tribes called the Ghaljan, that is the Kuchis, had begun to form under the influence of the Ghoris, who were actually Suris or old Sistani Suran Parthian remnants. This was a tripartite ethnic composite of old Tajiks, Khalaj, Turk nomad mercenaries, and some Afghans of the Bitani tribe, in which the Pashto language and nomadic culture began to dominate. The final phase of the Afghan takeover of Lower Khorasan was accomplished by the Abdalis, who established the Durrani Empire in 1747 in Kandahar, which was in fact the old Greater Sistan. People like the Pashtuns, Afghans, chose to lend themselves to mischief. In the 19th and 20th centuries, they played this role in Anglo-American global maneuvers against Russia in this crucial area of the world. Brothers and sisters, nowadays the Tajik nation is confronted with grave issues of survival at the hands of very crude enemies. Tajiks nowadays are in very poor shape. They are helpless, leaderless, scattered and unaware of their great history. They have not only misplaced their glorious identity, but many have even lost their language and culture. Ahmad Shah Massoud was one of those few figures of whom modern Tajiks can be proud. We must be impelled by the memory of his deeds and exceptional genius and continue our relentless efforts to reunite our nation and rediscover our past glorious bedrock. Only then can we look to the future. So with this, I take my leave of you now. Till next time.